So, good morning again to all of you. We will start with the session of framing of objectives, hypothesis, and review of literature. Now, friends, one thing I would like to say before we start with the actual topic of review of literature, which is one of the most fundamental and the basic topic related whenever you are doing any kind of research. Review of literature practically has two different stages. One stage is in the beginning at the time of preparing your proposal, and the second stage comes once your proposal is finalized in the research review committee. Then you have again to refer a lot of books to identify different what are the gaps and to identify what variables and what statistical techniques are applied by the researchers who has done research in similar areas. So this presentation will be divided into four parts. One is review of literature stage 1. Then we have objectives, framing of hypothesis, comparison of how hypothesis and objectives should be linked, and then last fourth the step which will be there is review of literature stage 2. Now review of literature is the only part of your entire research contents which has to be done throughout your research study. You cannot stop any time during any period, you cannot stop review of literature. So today's session will be not as per your theoretical concept of objective hypothesis, but it will be in the order how you actually practically do research. And therefore we will start with the first stage of research review of literature. But before that, what is the structure of a research paper? When you are, most of them who are participating are aware of the different structure of any research paper. And the structure has abstract, introduction, objectives of the research, hypothesis, review, research methodology, data analysis and interpretation, scope for further research, and conclusion and recommendation. These is a typical layout of a structure. Let it be a minor research, be it a research paper, or be it a dissertation, MPhil dissertation, PhD thesis, anything. This is a standard format of a research, uh, any kind of research activity which is being undertaken. So now we will understand what is a research gap. Any kind of study which you are doing will have a research gap. Now, initial my explanation will be little theoretical because unless your theory is foundation is perfect, you will not be able to frame hypotheses and objectives. Towards the later part, we are understanding actually how an hypothesis and how an objective has to be written. Like it's a practice by way of exercise. But before that, you should know from where the ideas related to objectives and ideas related to your framing of hypothesis should be gathered. So that is why review of literature. So the first step here is research gap. Practically, when a researcher begins the journey, there is just one thought in the researcher's mind, and that the thought is, I will like to pursue research. What form of research? That all may be at times nebulous, but the thought of pursuing research crops up in the mind of a researcher. Sometimes the researcher must have broad idea, must have decided some area in which the research will be undertaken, but sometimes you may not even have an idea. You will have to take advices related to the areas in which, contemporary areas, the areas which may have value after a few years when your research will actually be submitted or done. So sometimes a lot of discussion has to be done with the senior teachers, with the experienced persons and expertise of that field. And then the research will start engaging into the actual exercise of research. Now, while getting engaged with this review of literature work, there are three different stages: early stage, middle stage, and late stage. Some authors have classified the literature as into two different stages, or which depends on the kind of need you develop, need you generate. And those two stages are a traditional stage and systematic review of literature stage. Now, traditional stage is what? Traditional stage is the stage at which you are gathering opinion, views, and ideas related to the research work which you are planning to undertake. So your opinion, ideas, everything from will be actually developed at this stage. Now, if you see what is a research gap, your first fundamental basic purpose of your research is research gap. How do you know that this area needs to be worked on to, and the work done in that area is not complete? So there are some missing links in the research work which is undertaken, and that is what you will have is called as research gap. In social science research, you are expected to extend or to challenge current knowledge, theories, or assumptions. Why do you need to identify? The main reason is it is important to establish what you have based your study on, offering both a logical and social justification. This is what brings your work respect and attention in the other discipline. Why actually we are doing research and what your review of research will be? The main reason is review of literature, which is a comprehensive summary of a previous research which is done on a topic, will give a theoretical base for your research and will help in determining the nature of the work which you are undertaking. It shows the originality, relevance, it justifies your methodology and your argument. And that is why your review of literature plays a very important role. Research gap is actually what makes your research publishable. If you don't have gap, nowadays plagiarism is a very, very critical and important issue which all researchers has to keep in mind while undertaking any research work. Research gap will enable you to publish your work confidently. Why? Because it shows you are not just duplicating the existing research. It shows you have a deep understanding of the status of the body of knowledge in your chosen field. And finally, it shows that you have conducted a research which fulfills that gap in the literature. Why it is done? Already discussed, but again, we'll understand it in detail. It is done to demonstrate that you are able to engage in scholarly review. This is the most unforgotten word at times with the plethora of topics, repeated topics which are opted by the research. It has to be scholarly review based on your reading and understanding. Your reading, your reading has to be a separate assumptions and maybe formulas, models, etc., whatever you are choosing for your research work. It means it is a means of developing an argument about the significance of your research and where it leads. What is to be done? For bridging the research gap, you have to do review of existing literature so that you do not simply reinvent the wheel. The first foremost step of identifying the research gap, which is the crux of your research work, is doing review of existing literature. To do this, one should acknowledge the work of others in relevant research areas. The acknowledgement is very important. Acknowledgement, citation, references, whatever you are planning to do, whatever work you are reading, all that should justify your study in terms of knowledge gap or a need for the research. Establishing this gap is most usual way the academics move from general context of the other research to the more specific context of their own study. Now, what does this actually mean? This actually means that there may be you may not be doing something entirely new. Sometimes research technically stands for the name which it is research. Something has been done, but you may try to modify it. You may try to put your own ideas, or maybe do some better performance, create a better model. So that also is a good research, that you are taking base of some other research work, but you are putting your own innovative ideas and coming out with a completely different study. Now, what kind of language you should use while writing a review of literature? This move can be signaled that what various connectors should be used. The most common connectors of concession which is to be used are however, while, but, yet, despite, in spite, and although. Like when you are writing about review of literature, you should write author Mr. X has done this kind of work. However, this variable was not included as a part of research study. While this variable is included, there can be sub-variable of one particular component which can be also incorporated in the statistical analysis or the formula. So you are saying all this, you are confirming your research by incorporating connectors of concession. Now, connector of concessions will also add that you are not doing plagiarism. You are acknowledging the previous work. At the same time, you are saying that there is some gap in the previous work which you are identified, and therefore you will like to move ahead with these kind of research continue as a continuation. So sometimes if you read wherever there is a good research paper, they always give you the scope of further research. What happens sometimes, you can take some important aspect related to the research from the further research, scope of the further research. So that author has left that there can be a possibility to do research in this area. So you have taken that point and you have started your study that area. So that is again not considered as a plagiarism. That means you are supporting, supplementing the work which has been done, but the work is not the same work, not a replication of the work which has been done. So this connectors of concession is extremely important points which you have to mention at the time of at the time of writing the review of literature. Now, how the review of literature has to be specifically written, that also I'm covering, but that I'm covering little later part, and I will show you the templates of review of in what form and in what tabular or maybe paragraph form the review of literature work has to be written either on the laptop or on the writing notepad you are comfortable with. Now here very important that you have to avoid using these words while these kind of words while writing review of literature. Avoid using sarcasm, means you are using some witty language you are mentioning for describing the author's work which has been done. Avoid that. Paradox, a contradictory statement should not also be mentioned. Oxymoron, you are writing something which is a conjoining contradictory terms, like you are saying somebody honest thief. So either you say that honest thief, that two words do not match in a sensible statement. Then pleonasm, this is also very important, that you are using words which is more than necessary. Like when you are saying, I saw this with my own eyes, that's a kind of pleonasm, which can be on a word. When you are talking one to one, if you use these words, it is fine. But at the time of writing a research, these kind of words should be, these kind of statements should be avoided. And tautology, unnecessary repetition of like say there are huge plethora of studies, huge number of studies on plethora. It means the same. So you are putting overemphasis to some statement, which is very, very undesirable and unexpected in an academic writing. If you are writing a story, if you are writing a any kind of other work which is not based on academics, you may use these terms, but in academic writing should try ensure that these kind of terms are avoided. Especially, you cannot say the author with the other author's work is not good enough or sufficient enough to confirm a particular hypothesis. That is the belief of Mr. X. You have to mention your own belief, your own confirmation, and your own supporting the statements related to a particular hypothesis or an objective. So try to avoid using all this while writing review of literature, especially any kind of academic writings. Why you have to do review of literature? The importance: it will enable you to identify gaps and generating research questions. Research questions generation is important, can be regarded as the first and the most important step in any research. Of course, there are many approaches for overcoming this difficulty, but finding original and innovative topics and distinguishing gaps in the literature is never an easy feat. So you have to work very hard when you are identifying gaps. Now, how we are identifying gaps and what is the need for exploring the existing literature? This will help you to what is already known about the idea. This will help you to know that what is already known and what is already existing in the literature. What concepts and theories are relevant? What research methods and strategies have been employed in studying in this area? Are there any significant controversies? Are there any inconsistencies relating to findings? Are there any unanswered research questions in the area? So only after this, you can justify your topic. You cannot justify your topic otherwise, unless you know that all these important points are already existing in the literature, which has been work, which has been done by somebody else. So the confidence which you will get is only after going through books and work of different authors. Getting the most from the reading. The review should be used as a means of showing why research questions are important. If an argument in arriving at your research question is that although, see, connectors of concession, although a lot of research work is done on X, there is no research which has been done on XY, which is an aspect of X. And this is what you have to specify in your work. This is what also, when most of them have a problem, that how do we know what is a research gap? How to find out the research gap? So the research gap means it can be understood, it can be returned, it can be arrived only after doing the first stage of review of literature. Because unless you know what is done, you cannot say that this is not done. So your ignorance should not make your work, your research work, a duplication or a replication of somebody's work. So literature review is the point where you can justify this assertion that this has been done by someone, but the another aspect or a sub variable of that can be explored also in a different way. So this is where your existing literature review and your extensive work study of the literature will enable you to stand and justify the assertion. What is ROL? It provides a starting point for researcher. Now, starting point, when you start your research work, the first thing is you should know what we have to do. There are so much of ideas going on in the mind, so many thought process and so many maybe kind of areas where you want to pursue research. But first thing you should know that whether that has been done, what is the starting point. So review of literature, stage one. Stage one of review of literature will enable you to provide a starting point of researchers, wherein you will identify and understand what has been written about a particular area. It identifies knowledge gaps. Any research to be published will be incomplete, rather not accepted, unless there is a research gap which is specified. And gap can be from stage 1 of review of literature. If there is any discrepancies, inconsistencies in the literature, and it is also an indication that do not repeat or replicate your existing work. It will support and it support the clarity in thinking about concepts and possible theory development. See, possible theory development means you have decided something and you have read something, but while reading you get ideas. So when you get ideas only when you are actually reading that. How a literature work should be done: select a topic, search the books, the articles, various sources, develop the argument. How the argument, what kind of variables, what kind of models are used. Survey literature related to that. Again, if you see 2 3 models, sometimes you have to do the survey of literature again related to that. Critique the literature, not literally criticize it in black and white. You can have the criticisms, a critical review in your thoughts and with your own in your own books. Do not write it openly upfront in the research book. Write the review, and that is how your entire process continues. Sometimes after review you will feel that this topic which you have selected may not have value after 4 years. This topic is not that contemporary. Then you may have to you may feel like changing or reselecting, rethinking over that topic. So this entire cycle justifies your research process for stage 1 of RON. Now here specifically I have written a template of review of literature stage 1. What you should do whenever you start preparing for a research topic, which topic you have to undertake. Once you have decided the broad area, like if you want to decide it in finance, then your broad area you have selected. If you want to do it in, say, financial literacy, that's another broad area. If you want to do financial inclusion, that is another broad area. Now, what kind of work you will start referring and how you will note down everything, that you will be able to, in such a way that you will be able to identify the research gap. What all you have to note down every time you do research, review related to your research area. Your first thing is you have to prepare this kind of, I have shown it in a tabular form. You can also have it in a paragraph form. You should write about the title of the book, Financial Inclusion or in some state or financial inclusion of India. You write an author, who is the author of that book. You write the year of publication, because this all has to be mentioned in the references. You write variables used. Specifically, you should write the variables used. And if there are any models applied, you have to write the models which are applied for this. So which variables are used? Now, suppose if I'm taking a general topic on financial inclusion, so or literacy, so that you know what is the meaning of financial, what kind of variables can be used. Now, one part of financial inclusion, how to select a variable. You can select a variable through government publications. Now, this topic is related to something where the working papers are prepared by the government. From it comes from the government office. So, taking the hint from that working papers, you can choose your variables. The government working papers or the publications by government may give 10 variables. You need not take all the 10. You can take only 2 to 3 variables which you feel is there. That is in your research. But when you are writing RON, when you are writing this, you have to take all the variables used. All the variables you have to mention at the time of review of literature. That, for example, I'll just give you 1 or 2 examples. That financial inclusion, the government publications, if you see, the financial inclusion was number of bank accounts. So in the remote villages, now in cities and towns and all, people have lot of bank account, and almost all the members who are major are having bank accounts. Minors also have bank accounts. But that apart, your area is financial inclusion, say in a particular area, remote area, district, or maybe a village, and you want to know that whether the financial inclusion has uh, taken place in that particular remote area, and if there are some gaps, what are the gaps? So then you will select a variable. Now suppose your variable is number of banks, then you will identify that the number of bank accounts. You will identify from that area that how many persons have opened bank accounts, and what are the other variables in addition to that government has taken. So this will give you justification very confidently that this is the research gap. So you have to write title, author and publication, variables used, all variables. You apply few, but you have mentioned all the variables. If there are models, now models will be applicable for studies basically which are related to finance, economics, econometrics, etc. Now for finance, for example, I will say that if you have studied security and portfolio analysis, there are different types of charts. If you have studied mutual fund investments, and there are ratios, there are models which are capital asset pricing model. Then we have Sharpe ratio, Trenner ratio, Jensen ratio. These models are applied for identifying the performance of mutual funds. Those who are in finance will be able to know that when you are using these kind of models, there are fine models, but you may be interested in applying any two. The book which you are reviewing, they also may be interested, they also would have applied either one or the two models. So when you are filling this template, you will not write all the models, you will write the models which are in that particular book which you are referring. So here when you are writing models applied, whatever models are applied by that particular researcher, that you have to specify. Now this which I am discussing is the actual review of literature which is to be done, the stage one review of literature which is to be done. So this will form the base of your formulating objective, hypothesis, and research gap, without which your entire research purpose is a futile exercise. So this three missing, then there is no research. It is just the article which you have written, giving your own opinion about some particular area or some particular issue. Then you will write scope. Scope can be geographical scope, that is the study is for two districts, one district, one state, one town, one village, whatever, or overall India, maybe Asian studies, or the geographical area which has been studied for that. The time or duration, the duration and time period means the study is from which period to which period, post liberalization, post demonetization, or maybe now post COVID, so many things will come. So you have to study. So you have to write the time period of the study and the findings. What was the findings of that particular author? That particular author's finding and variables will help you in identifying that, oh, this thing has been done, but this is what, while reading 10 books, this one idea I have got, and that idea I will use it for my own research work. And also do not forget to write the direct statements using superscript. You must have read every time that you have direct statements, definition by, in inverted commas you write, and then you do superscript 1, 2, 3, and then you give the references below. So whenever you take some direct statements from any article, from any book, reference books, or any working papers, ensure that you are mentioning that. So, and putting it in inverted commas. That means while plagiarism checking is done, this will automatically will not be included in that. And even if it is included, since it is in inverted commas with proper citation, superscript, and mentioning the page numbers, etc., it will not be considered in the percentage of plagiarism. So this is how your entire stage one research uh, review of related research has to be done. Now, why this table and what will be the utility of preparing this table? From the above table, the researcher can identify research gaps. What kind of research gaps? Now there's another question, that what kind of research gaps can be identified? The research gap can be identified in terms of scope of the study. Now, scope of the study, see, studies are done continuously. Some studies has been done in post-liberalization period. Some is done pre-liberalization period. Now, when we talk about 1950, 1991, then we talk about post-monetization, and now post-COVID. You may do same study, but you may have a different impact altogether of the research work. So studies, at times, the thoughts and ideas may be the same, but the period which you are covering, that also has a wide impact. Now, before mobile technology and banking, which was done earlier with internet banking and mobile banking, you are doing study on that only, banking. But mobile banking has altogether different ease, and internet banking was at a different ease. Internet banking, you need PC and maybe this mobile banking with the mobile app, that has become very quick, easy, and time saving. So that studies you can do different e-commerce and brick and mortar stores. So scope can be, you can have scope as a part of your research gap. Scope can be your geographical area. Certain geographical area, some studies has been done, say in other Asian economy, like Nepal, or some studies would have been done in China. Now, if India we are doing that study, variables may be different, but the conceptual study may be the same. But that will not amount to duplication, because you're doing altogether different variable. Like your model has been developed, the model is applied in different situations. So that will also not be a replication or duplication of the study. So you can have research gaps which can be identified in terms of scope, geographical limits, variables used. There are number of variables and models which are applied, but you can use different variables. Like as I told you, in financial inclusion, government would have laid 10 variables, and studies are done on the basis of say 3 or 4 variables. So you can use the other 3 or 4 variables for the study. So the variables will not be a part of plagiarism, because that is something which has to be taken from the conceptual part, but you are applying it in a different, your scope is restricted to a different purpose. So in understanding what actually means plagiarism and how you can avoid that kind of duplication, that also is a very important part of your entire research work. So then you can take models applied for a particular a research work, especially finance and economics. The duration of the study in combination with different variables. As I told you, study can be done now with the earlier traditional retailing, as well as with e-commerce, e-tailing, etc. You can have studies related to traditional teaching methods and online teaching platforms and techniques. Now, when you are studying this, your target audience will remain the same. You are identifying the traditional teaching methods influence. Your target audience will always be students. Your target audience cannot be changed. Your stakeholders will always be parents, students, and corporates who are intending to maybe employ them. Even in online teaching, if you are doing online teaching platform study, your stakeholders will be the same. The stakeholders will be always the students. It will include parents, it will include the companies who are planning to employ them, all these. So these variables or the target audience are remaining the same, but yet their study is a different study, because there you are finding out chalk and talk method, and now you are fine. And in between we had ICT enabled techniques, but now even ICT enabled techniques and online, through online platforms. So now you see that there are 3 different stages of this. So your final stakeholder is the same, but your variables which you are using for analyzing your research becomes different. So this also, all this will enable you to identify the research gap. Now that you all remember that template, if possible, just note it down somewhere, because the new budding researchers or the researchers who have already done one work but is planning to do another work will save a lot of time if this kind of systematic approach of noting down the work which you have done, this approach, if you are using it. This is again a diagrammatical view of how the review of literature has to be done. Now I will start with objective hypothesis, and then we will go again to the stage 2 of review of literature. Now there is a major difference between stage 1 and stage 2. Before that, we'll start with research objectives. Now, actually, if I read this, what is an objective? There's a theoretical explanation, but I would like to focus more on practical one. So I will just glance through all this theoretical explanation that what is a research objective. Because unless what and how an objective should look, you will not be able to frame it. So when I'm teaching you framing of objective, you should know what is the characteristic of objective. So research objective is a clear, concise, declarative statement which provides direction to investigate the variables. Generally, research objectives focus on the ways to measure the variables, such as to identify and describe them. Sometimes objectives are directed towards identifying the relationship or difference between two variables. The research objective will enable us to get right solution of a right problem. Clearly defining objectives are very important. A clearly defined objectives enlighten the way in which the researcher has to proceed, add knowledge in a particular area of subject. So the first characteristic of an objective has to be, uh, it should be clearly defined. Now, how do you frame an objective which is not clearly defined, and how do you frame when it is clearly defined? That difference also we will understand. Research objectives are the results sought by the researcher at the end of the research process. That is, what the researcher will be able to achieve at the end of the research study. So your research objective should be such that it should be able to enable to understand that what you are going to achieve from this. Like if you are writing an objective to study the concept of say financial inclusion, that means when you are writing the first objective as that objective, it means that after your research work is completed, you will be thorough with the concept of research, or concept of financial inclusion. Sometimes a researcher writes that I want to understand the behavior of the persons in India. You know, you must have seen specifically our PG level students, when they write research objective and we teach them, they will write, some of them will write, I want to understand the behavior of persons uh, in India. Is that an objective which you will be able to achieve? Is there a time period framed? Is there a geographical area which is set, which can be achievable during a period of 2 years, 3 years, whatever time period MPhil dissertation they have given? So when you are writing an objective, the objective directly may not signify the time period, because that will be a part of your research methodology. But the objective should be such that you should be able to fathom that, yes, the researcher wants to understand this. So if I want to write the objective, if I want to frame as the perception of online teaching learning method of the senior faculties. Now, online teaching learning method, the perception and senior faculty. So what I am trying to do is, I am identifying the perception, the of what? The online method, which we have, and of senior teachers. And why I have chosen senior teachers? Because juniors teachers and young people are very tech savvy. So that I may get a result which is a very commonly noted observed result, that they are very tech savvy. Maybe within 2 days they will learn all the kinds of available online modes platforms, and they'll be comfortable with any platform. But what is the perception of these people? So that, if I want to if I really want to know, then my target audience should be to actually where my analysis will have importance. If my analysis may not have importance, then my target audience will not, and the target audience is not very welcoming for this kind of answer, then it may not have any important research value. But what I said is, I want to know the perception. Now, what is perception? For you, perception will be different. For me, perception will be different. So we have to write, what do you mean by perception? According to me, perception is this. Now, that I will explain again when we are practically doing the writing of objectives. So the objectives of a research should project, summarize what is to be achieved by the study, should be closely related to the problem of to the statement of the problem. A research objective is a concrete statement describing what the research is trying to achieve. A well-worked objective should be SMART. Everywhere in your research methodology textbook, you have read this: SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bounding. But what is actually SMART, and how your SMART objective should be framed? That is a question mark in many of the uh, researchers, budding researchers at the time of undertaking any research work. A research objective should be relevant, feasible, logical, observable, and measurable. Now, this becomes very important. It has to be observable and measurable. Some research objective may not be completely measurable. Which kind of objectives may not be completely measurable? Whenever you write a research objectives, generally first objective and the last objective may not be measurable. What will be the first and the last objective? Suppose if I am doing study on financial inclusion, so I will write my first objective as to understand the concept of financial inclusion. That will not be measurable. Last, I will write to make suggestions, necessary recommendations. That also may not be measurable. So majority of the time, you cannot say that all the research objectives has to be measurable. Majority of the time, the first and the last, depending on the research, I'm not telling always, majority of the time, the first and the last may not be measurable. But the the uh, the middle research objectives has to be measurable. Otherwise, it will be all vague and a directionless research work, a completely futile exercise. Objective is a purpose that can be reasonably achieved within the expected time frame and with the available resources. So you have to work in such a way. You have to drive your own car, and you have to ensure that whatever time and whatever space is there, within that only your movement should be. So you have to be the driver of your own research work and meet expectations and the time frame and resources, so that your work is completed and serves some purpose. The objective of research project summarizes what is to be achieved by the study. The research objectives are specific accomplishment the researcher hopes to achieve by the study. Specific accomplishments which the researcher hopes. It includes obtaining answers to research questions or testing of research hypotheses. So if from an objective, if you are unable to answer research questions or test hypothesis, then again the objective needs to be revisited and reframed so that there is a continuity and link in framing of objective and framing of hypothesis. Now, what are the research objectives? Clearly defined, it should focus on study. It should avoid collection of data which are not strictly necessary for understanding and solving problem that he or she has defined. So collection of data should be avoided which are not necessary. Now, if you want a very obvious, if you want to do study of Mumbai city, then why you will collect information or object or data related to Thana or Palghar. Your focus is on study. If you want to compare it from this versus this, then only you will collect information related to the other cities. It is organized the study in clearly defined parts or phases and facilitate in the development of research methodology and help to orient the collection, interpretation, and utilization of data. Now, these are all the basis of understanding the objective. When you frame, you should know that it has to be smart, specific, measurable, etc. Then there are general objectives and specific objectives. This also has very important role to play in writing your framing your objectives. There are general objectives. What are general objectives? These are broad goals to be achieved. The general objective of the study state whether what the researcher expects to achieve by the study in general terms, and they are usually less in number. General objective will be maximum one or two. You don't have to frame more general objectives. Specific objectives, when you are breaking general to specific, then objectives more than 4 to 5 objectives generally prefer to be specific objectives. What are specific objectives? Short term and narrow in focus. General is long term. General can be applied to general situations. Specific can be applied to a specific. Now, example of this, when you say that crops, growth of crops depends on the rainfall. Now, it is a general statement. In India, when you say growth of crops depends on the rainfall of that particular year. But does all crops depend on that rainfall? Is the rainfall uniform in all the states? So if you say states agricultural performance, it differs completely from the agricultural performance of India. When you talk broad and general statements, that statements can be only one. That the performance of the agriculture depends on the rainfall which the country has witnessed in a particular year. But when you are studying the performance of Maharashtra state in a particular whatever agriculture crop the Maharashtra state is doing, or the performance of Madhya Pradesh, Kerala, Gujarat, then your objective becomes specific and narrow and limited and restricted to that particular area. So there are certain studies which depend on the general statement as a general objective as well as a specific objective. So when you are framing a general objective, it has to be only one or two maximum. But when you are framing specific, then you can have multiple objectives, because specific objectives will include all variables. Like in the statement which I have made, India, rainfall and performance of crop. So what is the variable there? The variables there will be the performance of crop and rainfall. Okay. So the performance of the crop is dependent on the rainfall. So rainfall there becomes independent variable, performance will become a dependent variable. So you can have only one objective, general. But specific you can have in state. Like in Maharashtra state, if you want to see Jawar's performance, then this amount of rainfall and this was the final agricultural output of this crop. So specific, this crop versus the vis-a-vis the rainfall. So every state-wise, if you do, it can have multiple objectives. This is an example. There are so many examples which you can do if there is a lot of time available at disposal. But right now we are only focusing on one examples of each wherever possible for each objective and hypothesis. Then general can be broken into small logically connected parts to form specific objectives. The specific objectives are more in number. They're systematically addressed various aspects of problem as defined under the statement and key factor that is assumed to influence or cause the problem. They should specify what researcher will do in the study, where and for what. So general will always do very detailed analysis including multiple variables. But specific will do detailed analysis including multiple variables, and general will do an overall analysis including few variables. The objective should be presented clearly and concisely. They cover different aspects of problem and its contributing factors in a coherent way and in a logical sequence. Now, how the objectives are to be framed and what kind of verbs, action verbs specifically, should be used for framing the objectives. The objectives are clearly phrased in operational terms, specifying exactly what researcher is going to do, where and for what purpose. They are realistic considering local conditions and the use of action verbs that are specified enough to be evaluated. Now, what are these action verbs? Whenever you are defining an objective, now here you see on the left hand side, you have to see what do you want to explore. You have to define each term for the objectives to be relevant, measurable. Maximum what is suggested. Even in a PhD thesis, you can have maximum 5 objectives. Depends. I'm not giving a final number. Even 5 objectives, suffice for a good research work. In that 5 objectives also, I will say, first objective generally will be the conceptual objective, which I said measurable quality will not be missing in that. And the last objective will be suggestions, findings, conclusions, recommendations, etc. There also measurable characteristic will may be missing. So other than that, is there are 3 objectives that has to be measurable. And when you are writing a measurable objective, it has to be with an action verbs like to determine, to evaluate, to compare, to establish correlationship between, to analyze, to project, to examine, to understand, to find, to study, to identify. Whatever maximum verbs I could gather, I have written here. Other than that, it is an inclusive list, not an exhaustive. So there can be other verbs also which can be used. But it has to be, only then it signifies the measurability, the characteristics. If you are writing to evaluate, then it will become more uh, powerful that you are evaluating. Evaluating what? You are evaluating something X versus Y. You're comparing, you're establishing relationship between. Now here you can establish relationship between the rainfall and performance of crop. So when you are framing a statement to establish a correlationship between the performance of a crop with the rainfall in centimeters in that particular period. So it becomes measurable. So you will see that this year what is the agricultural output of the crop, and this year what was the rainfall. You compare it with the last year. You compare data like 10 years. So 10 years data you have agricultural output of rice and rainfall in whatever in centimeters in this period 10 years. So like this you can gather data and you can frame an objective and you can frame an hypothesis. You have also have all this which I have again additionally written to promote, present, suggest, study, etc. Now hypothesis, and then we will start with a practical exercise. Hypothesis technically you will not be able to understand just when you read theory. Too much of theory in research methodology and MCOM and everything we have read about hypothesis. Just you should know that hypothesis is a statement which you are making, and every objective should have a corresponding hypothesis. Only then your work gives is proper, has a proper weightage. In case if there is a minor research, 3 hypotheses are considered apt. In research paper, 2 hypotheses also considered apt. And in any other case, what I will suggest is your hypothesis should be objectives minus 2. If the objectives, 2 objectives which we have taken is not measurable, the one which was first and the third, not measurable objective if you have taken minus 2, that should be equal to the number of hypotheses. That's why I said 3, because generally I follow the 5 model format of the research paper, and objectives also, there are 5 objectives which are considered for foreign research paper publication. other international papers. Operational definitions need to be supplemented. What is operational definitions? In our exercise, immediately it will come. And the basis of hypothesis frame should be maximum 2 or 3 sentences, not very lengthy. Now here we are practicing. Now you read the first case very uh, detailed in proper, or maybe take a screenshot of that so that we'll be able to understand what is our case 1 and case 2. You read it, the highlighted portion. A study on, see what is highlighted, extent of financial inclusion in Maharashtra state with reference to Konkan division. Now looking at this title, are you able to understand what is the study related to? That is very important. That what the researcher wants to do, you should be able to understand. The researcher wants to study the extent of financial inclusion of in Maharashtra state with reference to Konkan division reference to Konkan division. Now, what have you actually understood in this is study. It is a study. Okay. Maharashtra state. That means the study is related to Maharashtra state and the study is related to Konkan division. Now, what you need to clarify is you want to know extent, but extent according to me is different. If I ask you what is the meaning of extent and how do you define extent, according to you, extent term may have different interpretation. Financial inclusion. Financial inclusion according to the government has different interpretations. As I told you, they have 10 variables, but I don't want to do 10 variables. I want to do only 2 variables. So how will you know that I want to do 2 variables? That is where your operational definitions and your research methodology under where you are writing, it has to be specified. Now, when I say, what do you mean by financial inclusion? And financial inclusion means, according to the researcher, I am not taking what you understand as a financial inclusion. Your understanding may be different. You put it in your research paper. I am taking what do I understand, I interpret, and I have chosen for studies in my research. According to me, and the variables which I am choosing for financial inclusion is financial literacy, usage of financial products, and bank account holdings. These are the 3 variables I have chosen. Again, I will take you to the title because this is a practice. A study on what is 2 things which we have not understood in the title is extent and financial inclusion. Everything else we have understood. Maharashtra state we have understood, Konkan division and study. All the 3 we have understood. Extent and financial inclusion. So we have to explain according to the researcher what is financial inclusion, and according to the researcher what is the scope of that extent, how that, where is the limit of that extent work. So I have chosen this, I have to mention. And how will I know that this will come only after stage 1 review of literature? If you do not do stage 1 review of literature, you will not understand what is financial inclusion. You will not be able to write a single word in your research proposal about the parameters, about the variables, and about the models which are selected in a financial inclusion in the previous study. So after going to review of literature, not too much into detail, which we are doing in stage 2. After doing review of literature, there I got 10 parameters. In that I selected this: financial literacy, usage of financial products, and bank account holdings. So this is the 3 which I have selected. Then I will explain what is meant by extent. Extent, according to the researcher, includes trends in the level of banking. So I will define, for me, extent is what? Trends in the level of banking services, disparity in the level of banking services, relationship between financial literacy and usage of financial products, and relationship of bank account holdings and the level of inclusion, financial inclusion. Now, this has not come out of the blue. This has come after reviewing literature, and after that only I have decided what is my scope. My scope means, according to me, what is this extent. I will include trends. I will include disparity, correlationship, and usage of financial products, correlationship of bank accounts, and level of financial inclusion. Now, you should have a little bit of information or knowledge related to financial inclusion, which is again a general topic. So I assume that this is information. If you are reading this slide, you will be able to understand. Now, against this, I have to frame objective. So, for case one, what is the objective of the study? Objective will be based on the operational definitions and the term of your the parameters and the variables which you have decided. What was the meaning of extent? Extent is trends in the level. So I will write that to study trends in the level of banking services offered by, see, this is my scope, scheduled commercial bank in rural Konkan division of Maharashtra during the period 10-20. So this is the study. But what I am studying? I am studying the trend, because for me, extent of financial education is what? Extent of financial education means I should know what is the trend of services by rural. This is a Konkan division is our area of research. Maharashtra state is the area of research, and this is the time period which we have selected. So if you see, just read this objective. Do you feel that we can achieve this objective on the basis of data gathered? You will gather the data of services offered by scheduled commercial bank in rural Konkan division this period. You can gather the data. Once you have gathered the data, statistician or you have to take help of some analytic person, so that the data can be analyzed and interpreted, and final conclusions can be arrived at. So this is the objective which are achievable. Now you see the second meaning. Now this I have to predefine. Extent I have to define before I prepare my research proposal. I have written here, I want to know the disparities in the level of banking services. So if I have taken Konkan region, Konkan region may have different villages, different banks. So every village or every area which you have taken, what is the disparity in the level of banking services? So I will write to identify. See, again, verbs. Identify the existence of disparity in the level of banking services. This will remain the same, offered by so and so Konkan division, Maharashtra state, and period. This will remain the same, major two statements. So your objective is achievable. How you will identify significant disparities? You will see from each area of Konkan division, rural areas of Konkan division, you have collected information, and then again the statistics, etc. Till the final conclusion. To establish correlationship, then I have written, I want to know financial literacy and usage of financial products. Now, what is financial literacy? Again, you have to define. Financial literacy means whether the villagers are whether they are aware that what are the products which they are available. So, in your research methodology, you will also mention what are the financial products which you have taken. So financial products, whatever financial products are available or are offered, you have to select either all or few of the financial products and specify in the research methodology that according to the researcher, these financial products are selected for the purpose of study. Then our extent explanation was correlationship of bank accounts and level of financial inclusion. So correlationship and level of, so you are studying the correlationship, you are establishing a correlationship. And then last, to make recommendations. Now this may not be an numerically possible data collection and achievable, but you are still achieving that, achieving in the sense by giving opinion, recommendation, and designing strategies that could strengthen the current policy. So this is how an objective is made. Now vis-a-vis the terms which you have used for objectives, same has to be used for hypothesis also. Now, what is the term here we have used? Trends in level of banking services. So against that, when you are framing hypothesis, your first hypothesis will be there is no significant increase in the level of banking services. Now, first, before I explain hypothesis which I have framed for this case study, I will tell you that in general, hypotheses are of two different types. One is a null hypothesis and one is an alternative hypothesis. Basically, what a null hypothesis means, a null hypothesis means that there is no variation, there is no difference. Like if you see the legal the statement that unless the person is proved guilty, the person is innocent. Okay, unless the person is proved guilty, is innocent. So that is the legal kind of version of null hypothesis. So you are assuming that he is not the culprit. So everything, when you write it as a null hypothesis, it means there is no relationship, there is no increase, there is no difference, and there is no it's a balanced thing. So null hypothesis will always say no. Alternative is an opposite. So alternative will say that there is difference, there is relationship, there are factors contributing towards a particular issue. So none and significant. Some studies you can put only significant or only alternative, and some studies you can put null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis both. Depends on the public place where you are publishing, or depends on the requirement of a university where you are registering as a research scholar. So here, if you see, we have written level of banking. So your hypothesis should be level of banking. First you write this only, then you write a statement which is before this and after this. So that means no significant increase in the level of banking services in the rural Konkan division of Maharashtra. Then you will write there is a significant increase in the level of banking services in rural Konkan division of Maharashtra. What was your second objective? Significant disparity. Now you should frame for your own self. Significant disparity means against that, what is the hypothesis? No disparity, and yes, there is a disparity. Only thing is that the hypothesis has some words which you will learn as you read. Here we have written there is no significant difference in the availability of banking services, no significant disparity in the availability of banking services, and there is a significant disparity or difference in the availability of banking services. Even if you write the same thing, no significant disparity, that also there is no significant disparity, then also in the hypothesis is allowed. Not that it has to be a very hard and fast statement, but it should cover this. Difference or disparity means one and the same. Then we are writing establish correlationship between level and usage. So your null hypothesis will be there is no correlationship, and alternative will be there is correlationship between what? Financial literacy and usage of financial products. So you will write there is no correlationship, no significant correlationship. Significant is generally a term which is used very often for hypothesis, between level of literacy and usage. And there is a significant, you can write, or there is significant correlation between level of financial literacy and usage of financial products. So I hope you are understanding how the objectives and hypothesis has to be framed, and words of the objective hypothesis, very important, has to be almost 99% similar, or the meaning has to be 100% same. Terms you can, like here, significant disparity or difference we have written. The meaning is the same. The term words which we are using may vary, but the meaning has to be different. Then here, fourth objective, correlationship of bank account and level. So correlationship, if it is a null hypothesis, we will write there is no correlationship. But if it is an alternative, we will write there is a correlationship. And typical hypothesis statement will write significant word. So there is no significant correlation between bank account holdings and level of financial inclusion. And there is a significant relationship between bank account holdings and level of financial inclusion. Now here you can see it against each other for better understanding. Objective is study the trends in the level of banking. Against that, there is a significant increase in the level of banking. Now here, if you write the word change, there is a significant change. So change again can be a positive change and negative change. So that makes it ambiguous. So you mention increase or decrease clearly. Don't have hypothesis and objective which is ambiguous. It has to be, it should not be vague. It has to be very clear and specific. So your increase, decrease, specify it. Objective is existence of significant disparity. So there is significant difference. No and yes, either alternative or null hypothesis. To establish correlationship between financial literacy and usage, there is a significant correlationship. Here I have taken all alternative hypotheses for understanding, but the main purpose is if you see against each other, objective and hypothesis, you will able to frame it. Our main objective of this session is to understand what is objectives and hypothesis and to frame by yourself, at least after the person may correct it, but you initially try to frame by yourself, which gives you 90% of your framing thorough. So here we had to study the correlationship of bank account holdings and level of financial inclusion. And then you can write there is a significant correlationship between bank account holdings and level of financial inclusion. So now I hope that these objectives and hypothesis, you are able to understand how an objective should be written and how to relate that objective with hypothesis. And objectives, every objective if you observe is achievable. Your trend is achievable. Relationship, disparity, difference is achievable. You are collecting data related to that and you are able to apply statistical tools, techniques on that data to come out with some conclusions which are valid and practical. So what an achievable objective, it should have these kind of characteristics. It should be able, it should enable us to gather information, enable us to apply statistical tool techniques and come out with some valid and practical conclusion and solution. So this is all about objectives. Now case 2, I think in case 2, if you see then the topic was a critical appraisal of female education progression in South Asia. This was related to a research paper. So when you are writing a research paper, you may have only one objective. You may not have, you may choose not to have more than one objective. So here the case 2 was critical appraisal of female education progression in South Asia. So we are writing female education progression. Reading at the title, you should be able to understand what is our intention, what is the intention of a researcher. You are first finding out information related to education, the progression in education. For framing hypotheses and objectives, you should know first what is which level of education is more prevalent in that area which you have selected. So if everybody is going for primary education, you should not do for that. Objective should not consider. If everybody is going for secondary education, if you do a study, it will be a waste because your study is whether they are going or not. And everyone is going, so this study will make no purpose. But higher education, a tertiary enrollment, how many of them are enrolling for tertiary education or higher education? In our case, if you see gross enrollment ratio, a gross enrollment ratio is an indicator of all those who are going for higher studies. So if I want to study the education of in India, then I can go for primary, secondary, because there are so many persons in India who are deprived of primary education also. But in foreign countries, some countries where government is already providing free primary education to all, if you want to study that, then that serves no purpose. So there you have to choose. So here, when we wanted to study education, decided that out of the three levels of education, two levels everybody, almost 98% of the eight category are going for primary and secondary education. Only higher education is a problem. So you have to frame an objective where your conclusions can be valid and the conclusions can have practical implications. Therefore, only a tertiary enrollment is was identified. And against that, you see the hypothesis, everything is the same. You can have is significantly low. This is another style of framing hypothesis. You can also have there is a significant maybe a significant relationship between the tertiary enrollment and the persons employing planning to take up tertiary enrollment. So there can be different hypothesis statements which can be framed. There can be objectives. Another examples of objective, you can have objectives like, these examples will give you that the objectives intention is obvious in the statements which has been mentioned. If you read this, to study growth of Indian telecom sector in India. If you read this, are you able to understand what is the purpose of the researcher? Yes. Indian telecom sectors growth. Now, growth, what we have to do? Growth we have to define. What is growth according to me? What is growth according to you may be different. So, as I told you, in this we defined what is extent. So, in the same way, we have to define what is the meaning of growth. That definitions and the what you are deciding, that is called as an operational definition. So you are defining, a researcher is defining what is the meaning of growth. If you see the next one, to study the FDI equity inflows and bring comparative analysis amongst selected sectors of the economy. So you want to know FDI, equity inflows, and bring comparative analysis of that amongst what? Selected. Now, selected sectors in the research methodology you have to mention. Now, here there may not be so many, too many number of operational definitions, because FDI equity inflow is not is a single variable in itself. It may not have different sub variables. So here you can just take a figure of FDI inflow, but selected sectors you have to specify and mention about which sectors you have selected in your research methodology. Then to study the penetration of smartphones geographically and bring to the notice the rural urban divide in the selected study area. So again, which area selected, there you can define, but looking at the objective and comparing it and keeping the title with you, both you should able to link. Otherwise, objectives, hypothesis, and title, if there is no link between the three, your direction will never, you will not be, you will not get a proper direction. You have to maneuver and keep on maneuvering, changing the directions. No, your focus study will never happen. So all the three has to sync with each other. To study the factors influencing the usage of empowerments amongst the respondents under study. This is a form of objective. Now we should start with the review of literature, stage 2. Now here your proposal, just your proposal is over. Proposal is over because you have clearly defined your objective, you clearly defined your hypothesis, and now you are starting your work of writing a dissertation or a research paper. Now, stage 2 of review of literature means it is also called as a systematic review of literature. It requires a rigorous approach to reviewing, because this is a type of review which is often used to answer highly structured and specific questions. Now, this will have a highly structured and specific questions. Therefore, you have to read specific parts of the articles in your field. Now, you may have edited book. In the edited books, you may have so many articles, but now you will have to focus. only on this particular article I'm going to read, because which is my study area. Now, in my example, we have focused on financial inclusion of Maharashtra state. So first, what I will try to ensure, if there is any article related to Konkan division, if there is any article related to my Maharashtra state, whether there is any article which is related to financial inclusion, first I will gather this and write a detailed information about this. The template which I showed you, almost the similar template, but here I will write more conclusions also, that what is the conclusion and what is the further research. Now I am not doing an overview, now I am doing a detail. So I will read every possible article I come across related to Maharashtra state, Konkan division and financial inclusion, and variables used in financial inclusion, right from government publications, working papers, any other private organizations publications, or our academic publications. And every variable I will measure, I will write and study the methodology which is used. See, when you are doing stage 1 ROL, you are not studying the statistical tool techniques. When you are doing stage 2 review of literature, you have to study what statistical techniques are applied by researcher, by a writer, or the author of that particular literature which you are reviewing. So now you are writing everything: title, you are writing author, you are writing publication, you are writing variables used, you are in detail writing statistical techniques, ANOVA, chi-square, quantitative, qualitative, whichever techniques you have, they have used everything you are mentioning in the template. And finally you are writing the conclusion. Now you don't know the gap, your gap is already identified, but sometimes you may have to revisit in case if you find some, unearth some new idea, so you may have to revisit, but that's another thing. But here is the detailed review of literature. So now this portion of review of literature is detailed analysis. You have to find the most suitable ones for measuring their value and finding how the influential they are. So if you are reading 5 articles or 5 authors book, you have to see out of the 5, everyone has chosen one or the other variable. You can mix and match the variables, and you can have your own another statistical variables which you have you want to analyze. So every variable and every important technique which is used, you will have to study. Examine the parts, everything related to introduction section. It has sentence or two or about the reasons why that research is done. Every time you see introduction may research, the author will mention the reason about the research is done. So that also you have to now note down. Stage 1, you are not noting down all this. Now when you have started writing your thesis work, your proposal purpose is over. Now you are writing down that why this research, because similarly on similar grounds you also have to justify yourself and write down. So the more you read, the more you will be able to write, and the ideas which you get, the words, the vocabulary which you improve, that is only after your review of literature. Then you have to detail examine the conclusion, suggestions and future research section. This would point readers the areas which lack investigation and need closer examination. So sometimes this link will be a link from where you will take your research. You start your research, initiate your work, and maybe you may take that ahead. So this review of literature has to have everything extremely systematic and detailed. Read systematic reviews, all content analysis, reports, citation, meta-analysis, everything. You have to note it down in the template. It can be illuminating and helpful, especially the later which reports the findings of the previous researchers. And you have to identify key concepts and keywords. Now, another important problem which a person comes across is how to identify there are articles and which articles we have to refer. So sometimes when you have keywords, you just key in that words in Google, and you may have authentic sources. Don't go for that uh, the sources which are not authentic. You go for an authentic sources. If there are libraries where remote access is available, there are libraries in Mumbai also where remote access is available. Now with this COVID-19 situation, I think so many of them have started giving online references. So don't go for the articles which are just randomly written. Go for an accepted and authenticated and referred reference books for selecting the parameters, the variables, statistical techniques which are used for the purpose of review of literature. How to conduct? Now this is a definition and related to what review of literature does. It tells you about the most cited papers in each field, areas, branches that have been developing in that field, and identifies the influential individual institutions, papers, publications, and countries in that field. How to conduct? You can go to Google Trends, you can have different websites. There are Springer journals, broad reader. It provides more sophisticated information and most recent articles that have been downloaded. The purpose I already told you, the review of literature will enable us to focus especially on a question, hypothesis, variables you can be identified, and comparison your findings with the others. Now in your viva was or while defense, if somebody is asking you about uh, this variables have been already done by that particular author, you can say yes, it is done, but it has done with respect to some other geographical area, limit, scope, or some other combinations. But my variable is this. So once you know what is existing, only then you will be able to justify your work. And what are the sources? You may have conference papers, internet past pieces, journals. Now everything is available online, especially wherever remote access is there. You can have many articles in and books through the libraries, which gives you remote access. Assessing the literature, source, authors, are they experts in their field, what other work they have published. You can assess if you want to find out that this particular book and article is widely read, then you can identify whether that particular person's authors is an expert in that field. Then you can with confidence you can take that literature from that article and review it. Then you can assess websites which are most authentic and maybe that which has undergone referring process, and was the page last updated. Sometimes you come across and if you see it has not been updated since 5 years, then there is no point of such information if the topic is contemporary. And how it should be written. It should start with introduction, identifying the topic under investigation, providing a context for the review. It should be followed by the main body where the literature is reviewed. Now, sometimes the question is which kind of areas, studies we should review. You should review studies which involve similar research problems, studies which involve similar methodologies, and studies sometimes may have similar kind of conclusions, different variables, but they may have similar kind of conclusions. So the question again is what you should review. That again is a question mark many times. In our example, I told you, review about work related to Konkan, review about work related to Maharashtra, especially related to, it can be other things related to Maharashtra, but you know the state, or the Maharashtra state, you know where it stands. So you may review something related to Maharashtra state. You have to review financial inclusion, and you have to also review related things like bank accounts in Maharashtra state, financial literacy in Maharashtra state, maybe some female, male, some gender statistics related to Maharashtra state. So in your title, you identify the words, and related to that keywords which are there in your title, try to review whatever article you are getting. Mistakes which are made in literature review. we are just making the review simply a list of past studies. It is not a list of past study. You cannot say, you have to specify that author so and so studied this chose these variables, applied these statistical techniques, and observed that this conclusion or findings, and findings and conclusion was this. So you have to break your review of literature as the title of the study, the important variables used, the important objective. The author may have used many objectives, but you may identify one or two key objectives which you find related or important or relevant to your study. Variables, techniques, and conclusion. These are the 5 heads in, you have to check whenever you are doing any review of literature. And when you are writing that also, all these 5 heads, information related to that has to be written. It can be in the form of a paragraph, just one paragraph for each article or book you are reviewing may suffice. If it is not relating the literature review to the study and making it a simply general review of the subject matter, that is not expected. Don't do a very general observation. Let it be review, especially for the second stage. See, first stage you are not writing down. Second stage review thing, you are writing it down as a full chapter. First stage you are using it as developing your research proposal. You are preparing your research proposal, developing your own ideas. But second stage review, you are writing it down, noting it down as a separate chapter. So here you are not expected to give general, review. You are expected to give a specific review. Not taking time to identify the best resources and give sources due emphasis, while at the time overemphasizing weaker or less important sources. So you have to see that which articles should be given more importance, more emphasis, and which articles should not be given that kind of emphasis. Also, on the basis of authenticity, you can make this decision. And failing to appreciate the relevant wider literature. Relying on secondary rather than primary, but not always primary or secondary. One of the sources are advisable. Sometimes it's a combination. Sometimes primary also has weightage. Sometimes secondary gives you more weightage. So some sources are such that you may not have primary data collection. Now, if you want to know about, say, corporate social responsibility, generally your information will be taken from the reports. You may not have offhand information, or maybe first-hand information about corporate social responsibility of each company, because you may not have that possibility or scope of going and meeting the CEO of the company. So you may rely purely on a secondary source. So it does not mean that the results and the research work is not valuable. It still has value. Only it depends on what topic and what kind of title you have chosen. Uncritically accepting the findings. You may not be very vociferous at the time of writing. You may just mildly criticize, but avoid that kind of criticisms most of the time. And not considering contradictory. You consider it, you do not mention it, but you can consider the findings, and maybe you can come out with your new ideas related to that. How do I know if I've completed my literature review? Then your answer will be to ask whether have I covered key literature. Now, what is the key literature here? Key literature is extent of financial inclusion. So have I covered information related to financial inclusion? Have I covered information related to Maharashtra state? Have I covered information related to Konkan district? Have I covered certain other general studies related to financial literacy, related to bank accounts operating, related to financial products? Yes. Then my work is done. So I will know that my literature review is over if all this I have covered. Is the literature up to date? My study period is 2010-20. If I am doing only 2015, should I say that literature review is up to date? No. Put efforts, ensure that you are collecting articles post till at least 1 year prior to the year of which you have chosen in your scope. Have I covered sources? Your author's books which you have covered is 1998, 99 and not now, then again it may not have any purpose. So if you answer these questions, you will know that whether your review of literature is completed or not. Do I relate that literature to my research question? My research question is extent of financial. So am I aware of what is financial products offered in the state? Am I aware of what is the number of banks account in the state? Am I aware of what is the status of Maharashtra state? Literature review I am successfully able to do. And have I included literature that contradicts as well as supports my viewpoint? Then also, not necessary that everything you have to see, take as goody goody, that is black and white, two sides of the coin. So you have to ensure that some things which you are contradicting with your work, and some things which are supporting your viewpoint. So both kind of literature review you have undertaken. Then you will be able to know, have I produced a critical assessment rather than a descriptive view? You are not writing the story of that from that existing literature. You are also trying to critically analyze. Have I organized into a logical and coherent structure? Have I identified gaps, weakness? Does my research question emerge clearly from the literature? Now, research question again. Also see the title. Even title will enable you to, understand that what is the research question. And finally, the summary of how the entire process should be undertaken is develop your own expertise at the time of writing research. The written review also forms an important part of your written report. As I told, it's a full chapter. Sometimes it is part of chapter 1, sometimes it is given as a chapter 2, review of literature, full chapters. Minimum, now again the question is how many books, articles, etc. should be referred. For a PhD thesis, I will advise 80 to 85 minimum. You can go up to 100. Articles, books, everything should be reviewed for your review of literature. Do not restrict yourself. Gradually focus your review towards your particular research objectives. Relate your review to your own research question. And existing literature may provide you with existing data with which you can achieve your research objectives. So finally, it is not just a reading, but a critical appraisal to find out gaps in research. And it is, in short, it is a SWOT analysis of a review. I think this is different types of referencing which you can mention in your review of literature when you're writing. You can have Harvard style, you can have APA style, but I think that will be covered in the session where you are writing report. So I'm not taking it in detail. I'm just telling you the different styles of writing references after your review of literature. MLA system you have, Harvard system, APA style, all these different styles you have. If you have already cited something, then you can write OPCIT. You have already cited in the same page, you have LOCCIT. And if you have already cited immediately, then you OPCIT you have, and then you have LOCCIT. So this also I think will be covered by the person who is doing research report writing. So thank you very much. Continue doing good research.